So my research in the past has been very much focused within the UK and European countries. So this was my first proper move into global health and global disability work. The same for my collaborators. So we worked with Professor Richard Hastings at the University of Warwick and with Dr. Shirley Werner at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. And for both of them, this was their first move, and I think a really eye-opening, and we had lots of very interesting conversations about the very different ways we think about disability, how we assess people, what sort of interventions we consider. So that was very exciting, and there's now all sorts of new global health groups at UCL, and now I've become engaged with those in trying to really think, well, I can have a lot of impact in the UK, but my work can have vastly more impact if I look at places where there's next to nothing going on around intellectual disability and stigma.
And I guess it's the opposite for me. We had a very broad focus on disabilities sort of in general, and actually trying to look at specific impairment groups, and one of the most marginalised and excluded groups in certainly in the international work we've been doing is people with intellectual disabilities and learning disabilities. And I think that's, you know, trying to use some of the knowledge and learning and expertise of Katrina and colleagues to really shed some light on how we can do better, whether it's deliver better education services, deliver better health services, better jobs for people with intellectual disabilities. I think that learning from that is really, and there's a lot of work to do in that area.
The other things we've done, and that I think is very much led on from Grand Challenges, to really think, okay, this has been so fruitful, engaging with people in the private sector, in charities, advocates, parents and so on. How can we do that more effectively? So we subsequently got another Grand Challenge small grant on justice and equality and set up a whole range of social media resources. We recently set up the UCL Unit for Stigma Research, and with the support of UCL, we've been able to set up some very exciting social media. So we've got a blog where contributors from all around the world are welcome to write about the work they're doing and the insights within their places. We've got a YouTube channel where some of the research we've recently completed, together with the collaborators we met as part of this project in Nigeria and Kenya. We made a film with them to tell their own story, which is now visible on our YouTube channel and has got lots and lots of hits, and there's never been a dry eye in the house because it's incredibly challenging and very, very moving to watch.
And the most important thing that I gained from that workshop, I think, with these adolescents, is that sleep means so much to different people, and it will take them onto other topics outside of sleep. So I would say a very kind of scientific or medical question, how do you sleep? Tell me about your sleep. And of course they would talk about all different things, not just their bedtime habits, but they would say, sometimes I don't sleep well because I don't like maths, and maths is on a Thursday, and so a Wednesday evening I feel differently. And so sleep is not just our hours between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. the next morning, but it seeps into all of our aspects of life because it's a regularity that is in our daily lives. And that was really important to me, to realise that my questions were too narrow, and it will change the way that I engage with adolescents in the future.
Yeah, I mean, all the work that's come out of this, including the article that we submitted, and in fact has now been accepted to the Lancet, has been about trying to find a common language for, and it's not always particularly easy, a common language for sort of scientific and cultural, social, historical approaches. But I think you know, Kim's experience with adolescents and the kind of work we've been doing in trying to produce a piece of writing that speaks to both our disciplinary interests has you know, reinforced our initial speculation that sleep was a really interesting way of drilling down into both hard science and into these much broader social questions.
Angel and Edwina and I were very keen to make sure we had the right arm's length relationship with them. So their job is to do their job, and our job as academics is to do our job, and we're not there as the PR arm of the charity. And so it's been quite a virtuous circle in that we've been able to suggest, well, these are the studies you need to do, this is how you do it, and these results are going to be quite substantial, and then you can use them. And I think that's...
Yeah, I think
they've agreed that that's been the case.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think one thing that has come from what we've been doing is also linked to the work Edwina does with her in her volunteering role around supporting people with Healthy Start, the Healthy Start scheme. So there's many people who attend food banks who don't know that they're eligible for the Healthy Start scheme. And so Edwina has been sitting with over 50 food bank users to actually fill in the forms and submit them to is it Department of Work?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
To the extent where we were then invited to a meeting at the Department of Health to discuss taking some research forward to be able to allow food banks to be a central point for showing that people might be eligible for this.
Yes, that's right. So like Food Banks Plus.
Yeah.
Food Banks Plus.